Good afternoon from the Circus Sports of the Minn Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. Interviews have already begun at the NFL Combine, and we have some notable news today. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni said that he, quote, cannot guarantee that A.J. Brown will be back in Philly next season. New Falcons general manager Ian Cunningham confirmed that the team plans to release Kirk Cousins at the start of the new league year on March 11th. Raiders general manager John Spytek voiced his confidence in edge rusher Max Crosby staying in Las Vegas for the future. Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta told reporters he is confident that the team will get a contract extension done with Lamar Jackson, and Jets general manager Darren Muji said the team plans to place the transition tag on running back Breece Hall if they cannot agree to a long-term deal by early March. Tennessee heads on the road tonight to Columbia as they will take on the Missouri Tigers with tip-off scheduled for 8 p.m. Central. You can catch Vol Network's broadcast of the game right here on The Zone starting at 7:30. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans of Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We're broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports in Kentucky Downs. And Buck and them live at the Combine. We'll hear from Coach Mack, who's also at the Combine as well, over at 2:20 p.m. for his weekly Mack Attack, brought to you by Tours Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer. Robert Saleh talked today. Got a few interesting clips out of that. Nothing really remarkable about free agency. Maybe gave you a few hints at the draft. But he had some good stuff to say, informative stuff. We'll see if we consider it real.
He gave us some hints?
We'll see if we consider it real hints or not, because he does talk about Reuben Bain, but then later on he does talk about arm length and how important it is. So it's just like we'll see how much of what is true and how much it isn't. But he did talk about some current players, Tavondre Sweat and Femi Oladejo, which I thought were very key things that he said that you already heard from us on this show that he said. So it's almost like we may know what we're talking about, especially you. You have a way better hit rate than I do.
It was Ross. It was Ross. It was with me.
615-737.
They speak my language. That's what it is.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay, so I do have a question for Ross. You said Malgi. Is it Malgi or is it Mogi?
I know you not the one when me and you both can't pronounce any name. He's going to try to ask you about how to pronounce it.
No, it's fair. It's fair.
I'm just trying to see if our show got a name right.
I thought it was Muji.
It's Muji?
Moo and then G, yeah.
I don't know. But we need to figure this out.
I've gotten worse since I've come on the show with pronouncing.
Do not blame us. This is not something that you caught like the flu. Don't blame us.
Just blame me. You know, my shoulder's big enough. I can hold it. I squat at 555. 15 times. I mean, I can hold anything, anything with all the stuff, the lies that go around anyway.
Yeah.
So
that's
I
real talk right there. Now.
Well, I also want to know for our own purposes, because I've been calling him Malgi. So you call him Muji? Is it? So we got to figure it out.
We are now asking the intern.
Well, Zach back here's a Jets fan. He thinks it's Muji.
It is? Okay. Well, first off, Jets fan. Are we going to really listen to a Jets fan on this show?
You a Jets fan? Oh, I feel so sorry for you.
And that's coming from Titans fans.
Yeah, we're heads and shoulders above you. You're the one or maybe a handful of them. But
Cleveland?
Yeah. Well, the Panthers passed us this year, but they're still down there.
Yeah. Well, maybe not the most interesting development, but an interesting development that happened overnight was that John Robinson, former Tennessee Titans GM, has gotten a job down at Miami. I think he's, what was it called? Special advisor, I believe.
Oh, was it?
Or something like that. down there with John Eller.
Like assistant GM to a certain extent, the way it was worded.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong. You may be right.
Let's see.
I think he's more than just a
senior personnel executive.
Senior.
That's what it is. Senior personnel executive.
Yeah, so that to me is the right hand man of the kind of the GM, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay. And listen, I think that more GMs should get second chances, and we've seen a lot of them do it. Reggie McKenzie kind of springs to mind. He got a job almost immediately after being fired from the Raiders as general manager, but I did think that like John Robinson's exile, I don't know if maybe it was a little bit of, hey, I'm getting paid a lot of money right now just to sit on my butt, or if it's that he couldn't find a job. But I thought his exile from the NFL was a little odd for me, because I do think there was a history even before he got here with New England and Tampa Bay where he was able to do stuff. Maybe general manager is not the title you need to hire him for. Maybe that's what he was holding out for. But I do think that his disappearance from the NFL, I'm glad it's done, because I do think that he does deserve a chance to work in the NFL. General manager, a little bit different conversation. You'd have to know what he learned from his past, and there is a lot to learn from. But there was some good there, too, that we shouldn't go ignore. I mean, hiring Mike Vrabel, the signing of Ben Jones, we talked about that yesterday, how that's really gone unnoticed sometimes and unheralded. He traded for Ryan Tannehill, that 2019 draft class, and really the 2016 draft class as well. Now, there's a lot of bad in there, but for the most part, I mean, relevance from 2016 to 2022 was in large part due to some of the moves and decisions John Robinson made, and the pairing of Mike Vrabel and Mike Mularkey as his head coaches at the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always found it very fascinating when you get fired as GM. It's almost like then you're no longer getting a shot to be
persona non grata.
Yeah, GM and stuff. So I think all those guys.
Is it like, did he say .338 if you hit .338, which is 33.8%?
Is that what he said?
You're considered an all-star, but he used 40 to 50% in the NFL. I think that's a little low. I think that's given Ryan Carthon's given himself a little bit of leniency.
A little bit of rope there.
I would say 55 to 60 is where you kind of want to hit on your entire decision-making process.
Yeah, I never understood what they should be hitting on a consistent basis, because it's really because it's up and down, ebbs and flow. One year you may have a great draft, and then the next year I'm thinking about the Cleveland Browns. I mean, he had a great draft this year. Yeah. Barry.
Yeah. And he's still around.
Right. And then I go, well, you probably look at the draft before and you maybe not so good. I don't know. I mean, so it's just really hard. So I think it's the body of work. Rand didn't have a long period of time for body of work. So, but JR did, and all those guys are been in the industry and deserves their shot. It's no different than a head coach. You get your shot. Where are we at? Robert Saleh's getting his second shot.
And they get way more second shots than GMs do.
So why not GMs?
I agree. I do think that I guess Tom Telesco would be the last one I could think of off the top of my head. Oh. And then I guess David Tepper would be the other one. Am I remembering that right? I think those would be the only two guys, but so rare, few and far between. And I'm not sitting here advocating for either John Robinson or Rand Carthon to get a second job, but I do think that there are things you can, much like head coaches, there are things you can learn, and I think that at least kind of maybe going the Mike Vrabel route, and that's what you see a lot of these former execs do, or they enter in media, which may be a better course for some of these guys, but they kind of. Mike Vrabel kind of maybe learned a little bit or took some time off and did some self-reflection. I don't know what happened with his time in Cleveland. But I do think there's an opportunity to learn between the time that you failed at something and the time you should get a second shot. And it felt like John Robinson, last year when the Jets interviewed like 20 general managers, he got interviewed. And I think he got interviewed this year for a job too. But that's a long period of time for him to go, without any kind of general manager interview, much less get a job in the NFL.
Well, I think he was still networking and was still showing up at camps. I think he was at Tampa Bay's camp for sure that first year when he didn't have a job. And, by the way, we're not going to feel sorry for them. They still getting paid, by the way. So he stayed in connection in the loop. He wasn't just doing anything. I think he did that every year. I don't know what team he was at. I think he was even at another team last year, if I can recall, because I remember his name coming up. Maybe just at their training camp during that period of time. Hey, he's now back in the business, and happy for him. And we'll see if Rand gets a second shot, too.
Yeah. I think the Andrew Berry comparison and conversation is so interesting to me.
How well because he did last year.
I mean, he did so well last year, and they fired the head coach, but not the general manager. But also, he didn't do that great in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024.
Yeah.
All had a few hits in them, but not really massive hits. And then there were the mismanagement of the quarterback position, not only just with the handling of, Baker Mayfield, but Deshaun Watson. Then we talked about the two quarterbacks that they had last year. Like, I am very confused about how a guy like Andrew Berry can find himself in a position where he has not only just power, but patience. And there are other guys that don't get that same kind of patience and maybe have better track records as a body of work in their short stint. It's a very weird, the general manager position is a very weird and different animal than the head coaching situation, than maybe even the quarterback situations that we give, the patience we give those two positions compared to the GM. And I'm just kind of like, why? Why is it so drastically different? And I don't know.
If I was just making a guess, and all situations are all different depending on the setup with the organization and the ownership, is who has direct contact with the owner? Did you as a coach have direct contact, or was the GM the middleman? Just like Ross is our middleman. So how does that work? Sometimes, and that's what was the stickler, and the only reason why I'm saying this is with John Harbaugh getting his new job there with the Giants.
Yeah.
He said, if I only report to the owner. And so, you being the middleman and conveying what may be true or not true is going to come out of my mouth. And so you can meet with him on your own separate time. So, I think that could be part of it.
Yeah.
In all situations, they're all a little bit different.
Well, I mean, even in kind of the situation we've seen here in the last few years, it feels like whoever has the ear of the owner has a little bit more of the patience given to them. I think would be the best way to put it. And listen,
which sounds really corporate, right?
Listen, I was about to say the NFL in that sense is very much like corporate America, right? I mean, it's not much different than anything else.
No.
So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm glad for John Robinson, and I do think he did a lot of good. I mean, we don't have to rehash the A.J. Brown trade or the 2020, 2021, 2022 draft classes and everything like that. But I do think that the talking point for me, at least, or the idea for me behind talking about John Robinson was the disparity in patience between general managers, but also between general managers and head coaches / quarterbacks or players, whichever one you want to put. Because some GMs get a lot. I mean, Chris Ballard, I think, is a perfect example of a guy that's probably overstayed his welcome at Indianapolis, and he's still sticking around. And I don't know when he's going to get fired, but I don't think his drafts have been that spectacular. He's had a couple of good free agency moves, but they've been very few and far between. And that's another guy. I mean, he's not as bad. He's no Andrew Berry, but I mean, that's another guy that I feel like, man, he's had all this time to do stuff, and it's just never amounted to anything.
Have they been still winning?
Here and there. I mean,
they've been very competitive.
I would say.
They've been very competitive. And I'm right there with you, though. There was a period of time that 1 year I was like, man, I don't think he did a very good job. And it was 1 year like, dang, man, he missed on a lot of his picks. Well, that was 1 year. He got to recover. Then, hey, I'm going to have to say this. Maybe he got more length now that the owner has passed it on to his daughters that he has passed, that might have bought him some more time.
Yep. He's been in the league now 9 years. They've had 4 winning seasons. And they probably were on pace to have a 5th winning season
till Jones got
hurt.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's enough that 1 year, but that is a guy that's had a lot of losing seasons. He has a losing record overall, but has the staying power. I mean, and I know that he was big buds with Jim Irsay too, so I don't know what his relationship is with Carly. I don't know, is it Gordon Irsay or Irsay Gordon? I don't know what the order of her last names are. But yeah. So again, that's just another example of a guy that's been very mid would be a great way to describe Chris Ballard.
Well, according to Rand Carthon, mid is great.
Yeah, well, that's what he said, which makes me
is
wonder.
Average, right? I'm just trying to learn y'all lingo.
Yeah,
That's average.
Yeah, a little bit below average, I would say mid, but yeah, I mean, they ain't ass, you know. You can do a lot worse, and we've seen a lot worse come through than Chris Ballard, but you can also do a lot better. So it's just an interesting conversation. And speaking of interesting conversations, when we come back, we'll hear from Robert Saleh, who was at the press conference today over at the Combine. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Blaine, you've kind of said it before a few times. Football is almost a student's game. A lot of people talk, because we're at the Combine, a lot of people talk about athleticism, size, strength, speed, power, all that kind of stuff. But you've been a big proponent that football is a student's game. And it really seems like that's kind of what Robert Saleh is kind of aiming for as well. And the reason I say that, and we'll get into some of the other physical aspects of stuff they said, but he had a little media scrum before the presser.
Right.
And he said mental capacity, football IQ, and recall are three of the things that Robert Saleh said they'll focus on in combine interviews. Obviously, character, number one.
Right.
They'll put college tape on and see how the prospects can remember the play call, what happened. And he went on to say scheme is just football 101. I can teach anybody a scheme. Decision-making is what actually matters and is harder to teach. Decision-making over scheme mastery for every position. Now, those quotes are courtesy of Teron Davenport and Easton Freeze, who were in the media scrum. When you hear all of that, how can you really identify that without being in the room with them? Is there a way to be able to see that on tape or anything like that?
No, I can't give you my goodies.
All right.
This is why I'm great.
No, I was hoping you would give me your secrets.
Nah, I have no idea. You'd be better off guessing than me. But, it was interesting that he said recall, because I could tell you every play that was ran in the Super Bowl. I could tell you every play that was ran I got beat in college. None. So,
well, that's a real easy one to zero.
No, just kidding. But, so that's, and we can recall plays, games, coordinators, book, notes on all those guys. And I think that's what he's talking about. Actually, a version of me, but probably a lot bigger, faster, and everything else with this new generation of players. So, yeah, I think you just quiz them and kind of go over them. You treat them like every position like it's a quarterback. Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, because they don't forget. Because the competitive nature of each individual is so off the charts, it's actually unhealthy. Yeah. For the competitive nature that you're going to be, because it's always about the get back. Oh, you going to give me that one, but I'm going to get you back.
Right.
And then that's why I always talk about, okay, you got 10 plays. Your goal is to say, I'm going to win all 10, knowing in reality, if I win 7, I won.
Right.
I win 6, I still win. But I want to be at the 7. That's the low barometer for me.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how do I stack up against the best, football players in the world? And so I think that's what he's talking about. And let that drive you, let that fuel you to be the greatest version of you. And that's all I'm asking. And if you put that together, you will become a really, really good football player. And you can go against the best, some of the greatest, and still look like, dang, man, that guy's still pretty good.
Well, and it goes back, and we'll get into a little bit more about like combine performances and all
so
that
you want
tomorrow.
Some smart guys.
But I mean, to be fair, sometimes you may be slow, but your mental capacity, your football IQ allows you to play faster than what people think.
Absolutely.
Because you look at these guys that run fast at the combine that sub 4.3s, right? Mm-hmm. I read you the list yesterday. We're going to save the list for tomorrow. But I read you the list yesterday, and none of these guys have really amounted to anything. Because there's so much more that goes into it than just being track fast, if you will. And then listen, most of these guys had that speed show up on tape too. But again, it's about how the cognitive ability to read a defense, right? Even at offense, you have to kind of read the coverages, the defense, and all that stuff at a quick rate, because that ball's coming out to you. To your point, treat every position like quarterback. The quarterback has to process in 2.5 seconds. That means that you, as a wide receiver, also have to be in your spot 2.5 seconds, which also means that you, the defensive back, has to be on them in 2.5 seconds. Like, that's how quick this game moves. And I'm just using 2.5 as a number, but that's how quick this game moves, and why the mental capacity, the football IQ, and the recall is so important.
Yeah, and I think here's the, tell of the tape where everybody can really understand, and make it simple, is every player that meets the measurables, every player that physically meets all the measurables, than every player that meets the mental and all the measurables. Right there, you see those 3? You know what that player is? Those are the Hall of Fame players. They hit on every point that you need to hit on to be a great player. Now, there's some going to be too short, not going to meet the measurables, but they may meet, they're smart. They quick thinkers. They're great football players, great instinctive players. Some of the elites are elite. Sometimes they're just so elite, but they don't have instincts. And that's what you see today.
Yeah.
You could be missing it. Well, that guy won't make it to the top of the top.
Right.
Right. Because you can't just grow instinct. I mean, you've been playing ball since 6 and you don't have the instincts at this point.
Right.
You know, it's not going to happen. So that's why some falter and some not. Some don't have the mental capacity. I mean, we can go through, some of the Alabama players, how great they were in college. You just knew they were going, me included.
What about this? Rashaan Evans would be a great example.
Who I'm thinking of right off the bat.
I mean, that's who I think of whenever somebody says
man, he had everything. I mean, we're not picking on you, but he was a linebacker. He reached the height. You thought, he's touching that point, and then he just leveled out and then fizzled out after that. And it was really just that. We talking about tools. He had all the measurable, all the speed. He had the body. He had everything except, guess what? He probably couldn't assess and, dissect plays quick enough, or the game was moving faster than he thought it did in college. Some guys just, it's really weird. And that's why I always talk about eye discipline and control, because the game is so much faster than everybody watching it on TV.
Right.
Or no different than somebody getting hit and really getting hit. And on TV, it looks like, oh, man, he barely tapped down. So I think those all play into that. And you try to figure out ways to navigate through that. And, there is no perfect player. But if you hit on all those are the guys that, got the gold jacket on.
Yeah.
They mentally are just as sharp as athletically they are gifted.
Yeah. I look at 2 guys that maybe have physical limitations that have come through the Titans, and a guy that we talked about last offseason that we both were really high on because of what we saw on tape. Roger McCreary, who was drafted by the Titans, he has physical limitations, but I think he has good football instincts. And Upton Stout, who the 49ers drafted last year.
That nickel from Western Kentucky.
Western Kentucky.
It was you could see it on film, though.
Yeah.
You could see
it.
Yeah, he was going to be a productive player.
And he started almost every game for them this year. I mean, that was a guy that they leaned on, who I really liked. But again, he's 5'8", 181 pounds. He's got 30-inch arms, so, I mean, he has some long arms, but that 5'8", that's tough. And some people thought that he may be a safety instead of a corner. But he has those instincts on tape. And listen, he's got some athleticism to him, too. But, I mean, his instincts are what stood out on tape. His physicality is what stood out on tape, his tenacity. You could actually see him get physical with bigger guys and be right up in their grill and their hip pocket the whole way through. And he may never be, to your point, the Hall of Fame guy, but he's a really good player.
Right. No, he won't be. And there's nothing against that. I mean, just because of his size. But everything else, he checks the box. And so one of those things when you're looking at guys like him, to me, that's really fascinating. It's like Molden. He just got injured with his groin a couple years in a row, and it just kind of derailed him a little bit. You go, okay, what was his background? What position did he play in high school? Oh, probably running back, so he's freaking tough right there off the bat. Not just a DB, because then that creates the power and the thickness below that, okay, I'm used to contact. I'm used to going after. Make sure you jot that down and talk about that on F words. I see you do that all the time.
I'm doing it for my research for when I'm looking at my big board.
Those are tough, and so they have instincts because they've always been measured as you are too small. You will never make it to there, right? And then they show, now I can read. I can play part of the run. I can blitz. I can cover man-to-man. I can play zone. I have a good feel for it. Probably also was a defensive back. Probably more outside corner because he could just cover just in high school, just everybody, right? Probably never played really nickel until he got to college when the boys got bigger, stronger, and faster. And then he says, there's a place for me in this league, and especially college at Division I level. And that's what happened. And those guys really, and I still believe he will potentially, when he starts losing some of his speed, he would then go to safety, right? Even if it's a small role or backup role, that's where he could potentially go. Yeah.
And another thing, we're kind of getting like we normally do off subject, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm helping you guys out too. The scouts for the Titans. If you're listening, I know you're listening at the combine.
But another interesting thing that kind of parlays into this idea of you have to have all this elite stuff to be quality. You brought it up all the time last year about Carson Schlesinger, the linebacker, and you said he's a walk-on. He is a walk-on,
right?
And I was listening to Todd McShay's show today, and they had this data analytics guy on there.
But he won Defensive Player of the Year, right?
He did win Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. And they said, what you guys don't understand, now you understand what I'm about to say, but what people don't understand, and they run this thing, it's a better version, not to discount the people here in Nashville, it's a better version of S2. But he says, when we talked about Carson Schlesinger, it was about how he was a walk-on, but not only that, that's what their algorithm talked about, how important that it was that he was actually a walk-on, because he not only was he a walk-on, but how he was able to diagnose the plays. Like, this algorithm could tell how quick he diagnoses the plays and how important he was to getting everybody in place. And I was like, it's so funny because you talked about it all offseason about how much you love this kid, and you always brought up, and he was a walk-on.
Well, and he was a walk-on. I mean, and so that alone, and to get to where he was, and then when you turn on the tape, I'm telling you, I said this then. I was like, well, shoot, my eyes kept going to him.
Yeah.
I said, well, hold on, who's? I think he was 17 or 49 or whatever his number. I know he's 49 now, but I don't know.
I think he was in the 40s last year,
and I kept on saying, man, this guy, he keeps making plays. It's almost like he's beating Femi there from the other side. So I kept rewinding. I said, well, I think this guy's better. And then it ended up being, and he was a more natural rusher. It was easier to him. You could tell he was more fluid in his movement than Femi. Femi was more, I'll run through a brick wall. And I'm like, oh, man, dude, you're going to wreck yourself, man. But he's a big, strong guy. So eventually he can get there. It's just how fast can Femi get there to that. And where maybe, the other guy maybe has peaked, but that's still going to be always really good.
Right. Yeah. Number 49, by the way. So again, good recall. You knew he was in the 40s.
Yeah, I'm a numbers guy.
You are. See, that's that good recall.
Just the number on the jersey.
And someone brings up a similar guy to what you're talking about that's in this year's draft, Jake Golday, who is a linebacker from Cincinnati who's starting to climb up the board the more people watch tape. I have not watched tape on him. But in the same...
Is he middle linebacker?
He is a middle linebacker. Yeah, the same episode... that they were talking about him, Carson Schlesinger, and him being a walk-on. They said that this about Jake Golday. He can download a playbook. You give a guy a short playbook or a smaller playbook, they may be able to download it pretty quick. You give him the thickest playbook, that guy can download it as quick as other people can a short one. Like, that's what he could do. He absorbs information so much. And they said that the reason why that's beneficial, which is very unique, is that nowadays, position coaches, almost have to over-explain to players what's going on in a play, their assignments, gaps, all that kind of stuff, right? Like everything that goes into a play. They almost have to over-explain it. But that because he has proven that he can absorb so much information, those coaches could spend less time on him because he gets it right away, focus on other players, but he can also be almost a second teacher for the players in the room that he's with. And that's something that we really would never know, and we won't know that about every prospect, right? But that by looking at the film, other than how he's able to play the game fast and the way he does, from what I've heard, is that he is a very, very impressive guy. He's been in the top 50 in most of these big board rankings and all that kind of stuff so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes almost the same spot as Carson Schlesinger did at this point.
Yeah. Well, in a big prism, I think that's where I think the NFL goes wrong. And I probably said this every training camp that start. Why are they putting, and they did it when I was playing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd stay up to 12 o'clock just studying the playbook because I knew I had to because I couldn't false step with anything because I was the guy that didn't meet the measurables, right? So I think they inundate them with too much information, number one. Too much information. It's almost like the coach wants to show how smart they are. nah, let's slow this thing back. How about be a master of the little things and let them digest it? Now, depending on your room and how sharp they are. Now, the veteran guys may get a little bored, but at the same time, you also, number 2, must speak their language. And number 3, it's up to the player to now inundate himself and get into the playbook and understand and put it in his words of understanding how to play the game the way that coach wants to. And I don't think a lot of players think like that. And by the way, number 4 is I think a lot of players coming from college now, the elite ones, they're so good now they really didn't get coached.
Yeah.
Like if you ask a coach, college coach, first and foremost, what's the most important thing? Recruiting. But then you don't have to recruit if you got the best players.
Right.
But guess what? Let's compare Nick Saban to Alabama. When you got a good coach with the elite players, you win national championships, right? Or Kirby Smart, how you? Well, you got a whole bunch of good players. You can say, but I don't have to coach them. Then you end up probably in a situation like Vanderbilt at this past season. You're just a little bit short, right? Because you had the elite of the elite players. So I think this goes into, and this is a thing of the NFL all over the place because I'm like, oh, man, that guy's really good. Now they didn't slow him down. This dude's slow. I mean, I run right by him, man, because y'all done slowed him down. He don't even know. He don't know what's going on. Y'all done inundated him with so much information thinking that everybody can take in that information that you just gave out. And I'm sitting back here licking my chops.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh, I can. I'm beating him out. I'm going to beat him out. That's what I'm thinking in the back of the room. Because they are not going to put the time and the effort in. They're not quick thinkers. And so once that happens, then now you have stunted the growth of the athlete. And so then when I hear people say, oh, the athlete is just not picking up the play, but they're really trying to say that he's dumb. But in reality, he's not dumb. He's just not as sharp to pick up information as fast, or he's not taking in the information, the data, the way that the coach is teaching it. And so it's just like, that's why I said I want my coach to be teachers, because teachers identify that, hey, I need to teach this guy this way, because you're in a room now of 10 people, and then I got to teach this guy this way. See, so all of them have different personalities and how they take in information. If you want to be successful, you better figure that out really fast.
Ren Carthon today said that one of Brian Daboll's greatest strengths, and I want to see if this plays into what you're talking about, is that he is able to meet the player. Mm-hmm. So what he means by that is come down to the level of the player to communicate and adapt to the player. Yep. Is that what you're kind of talking about?
Exactly what I'm talking about. Who said that?
Ren Carthon said that about Brian Daboll today. So right on Buck Show, if you guys want to go back and listen to it on Zone TV, wherever you get it. But that's what he said. That's what he said. Brian Daboll's greatest strength, because you saw it. He also, because his dad worked with Brian Daboll when they were at the cross paths at the Chiefs.
Maurice Carthon?
Yeah. They cross paths at the Chiefs, and he said that if you go and watch and see what he was able to do to go from the Hurts and Tua national championship game and all that kind of stuff, is that you see it, but then you see how he's handled Josh Allen, all these other young quarterbacks, that he has a real knack for meeting the player at their level, and I think that says a lot about Brian Daboll, and hopefully what he is able to do with Cam Ward coming up soon.
Well, I think that'll be pretty easy because he puts in the work and all that. Good example here on the chat, and I didn't even think about him. A current tight
Negney?
No, Calvin Ridley.
Oh,
because super gifted and talented.
Yep.
When I saw him at practice, I said, there's never been a receiver like this for the Tennessee Titans as far as talent.
Right.
Well, guess what? We're not seeing it on a daily game in and game out basis. Why? I'm not coaching him.
Yeah.
But guess what? I would sure believe that it has to do something with in between the ears.
Right.
Because it's not supposed to happen. That guy's fast. He can run routes. He's athletic. There is nothing. Good route runner. So there's nothing that he can't do. So why isn't he consistent and getting better performances week in and week out?
It's a good question, and you have to go to and listen. Tyke Tolbert's no slouch, right? Like Tyke Tolbert, the wide receivers coach for the Tennessee Titans, the 2 years that Ridley has been here, has a proven track record.
Yeah.
So then, where do you go in that regard?
You go back to the player.
Okay, go back to the player. All right, coming up next, we'll hope we may be able to hear from Robert Saleh. We'll pull some clips here as well. We'll actually talk about something that he said to this. He talked about the state of speed and violence on the roster. So we'll talk about that because that kind of plays into what you're talking about. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Zach Lyons. If you wear glasses, you already know the struggle. I'm constantly looking for them, waking up blind without them, knocking them off the nightstand. Don't even get me started on vacations. Swimming, forget it. Fogging up, smudges, scratches. My whole day revolves around these things so that I can see. And the truth is, I've been dealing with blurry vision for years. Glasses help, but they're also a hassle. And lately, I've been seriously thinking that there has to be a better way. That's when I started hearing from colleagues here at Cumulus who had vision correction done by Dr. Horn at Vision for Life, and every single one of them said the same thing. They wish they'd done it sooner. I did my homework, read the reviews, and decided it was time. I'm going to have my vision corrected by Dr. Horn this Thursday, and I'll walk you guys through the experience step by step before, during, and after. If you're tired of dealing with glasses, contacts, or blurry vision, don't keep putting it off. Call Vision for Life at 615-436-2020 or visit visionforlife.com to schedule your consultation. I'll keep you posted, and trust me, I'm excited to finally see clearly. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is number. Can our listeners help us out?
Yeah.
We made a bet with Ross on air that he would have to shave his mustache, but we, for the life of us, cannot remember what the bet was. And he offered up the mustache because people wanted me to shave my head.
Yeah,
and I said I was not willing to do it.
Right.
But I can't remember what that bet was. So if you guys are listeners, chat, phone, call us in, remind us what that bet was, because I want to make sure that there's someone that doesn't have to shave.
I think you know what it was,
their mustache.
Ross. You don't remember? Because you knew you wasn't going to do it, huh?
No. Okay, so we were kind of talking about coaches, overloading players mentally.
With the system.
With the system, and it kind of gets a little slow and everything. So...
And then coaches are very MFing you, and
Right.
you feel like a little bumblebee. And, oh, my, I want to fly off and go get some honey.
So Robert Saleh was asked on his feelings about the state of the speed and violence, because he said he wants fast and violent players on the roster that he inherited. But he kind of uses that as a jumping off point to go into, I believe, kind of what you were just talking about. Here's what Robert Saleh had to say.
Well, that's the thing is it's not just their ability to run a 40, Paul. It's being able to absorb the playbook and play without thought. It's going to be our job as coaches to be able to extract every ounce of their physical ability, and that's going to start in phase 1 of OTAs, just getting them in the meeting rooms, then to the grass, and then in the practice, and getting them to see as many pitchers as they can, get them as many reps as they can to allow them to play as fast as they possibly could. So again, it's a team thing. It's not just their ability to go out there and run around and play fast. It's our ability to allow them to unlock all their physical ability as players.
So he kind of talks about how it's the responsibility of the coaches to make sure that they can play fast, but it's also their ability, like we kind of talked about with the recall and the football IQ, their ability to absorb what they're also teaching as well.
Man, I tell you one thing, man. I had no idea that, I'd feel like this.
I know. I hate to play all these clips because I'm with you.
It takes me deeper and deeper to what I would like in my coach.
Right.
He said, I've never phrased it this way, and that's why he's in the industry, and that's why he's a head coach. He's trying to be, he's learned a lot of things along the way. I always say, play with instincts, because if not, you're letting guys, you're slowing them down, you're making them think. Well, here's what he said. Play without thought.
Yeah.
See, play without thought.
Which seems so counterintuitive, right?
Right.
For most
the same
people.
thing I'm saying. He just said it, and he said, we need to unlock them. See, these key words, we need to unlock them.
Yeah.
To be the best version of them, and if that should be good enough, at least what we're requiring of them, because we're the ones who drafted them. So if we get to that level, which if that's his emphasis in his mind, and I think it is, with every player and the coaches that he hired, I would think are somewhat similar to him. Maybe not as polished, but obviously they're great teachers. That's where it starts. I think that's the unknown kryptonite in the National Football League, is the coaches that are really good at teaching at their positions as position coaches.
Well, and
I think it's a lost art now. I mean, I see guys out there, and I'm just like, man, what are you doing? Like, I know the coach can't be teaching you that. It's impossible. Because it's incorrect. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
It's cover 3. You got deep third. What are you doing?
Right.
Like, you got A gap. Why did you run to the B gap?
And he must be a good teacher, right? Mm-hmm. For everything that we've seen.
Great communicator here. We're listening to it.
We're listening to it, right?
Yeah.
Like, he, almost like what we were talking about before the break, I meet the players, but he says it's on us to unlock them. Remember in his initial press conference, he said, Big Jeff, I want to take him to another level. And the only way you can do that is, he says, I want to take him. Mm-hmm. My job is to take him to another level. It's not that, he needs to get to another level. My job is to take him to another level. You look at a guy like Quincy Williams, who was drafted in the 3rd round by the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2019. Played for the Jaguars from 2019 to 2020. Gets to the New York Jets with Robert Saleh and turns into an all-pro. A guy that was kind of forgotten by everybody. And he turns into an all-pro. Also a free agent, just to throw that out there. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we saw it in New York, and I don't think there's any better example than the most recent example that he gave us on the field was this 49ers defense that was just decimated by injuries. Yeah. Rookie after rookie, 5th string and 6th string linebackers playing for him. And they all looked like they exactly knew what to do as a unit. I'm sure there were communication issues, but they would be not known to the naked eye. And he had them in the right spot. And that's a credit not only to the players to absorb the information that he's given them, but for him to teach it and coach it.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll run into, where it just doesn't work for this guy. I mean, sometimes that's happened. You still try to work around it the best, you can. And I think what he's also conveying is using the Jeffrey Simmons to the bottom guy on the roster, whoever that may be or end up being, is then there's no complacency.
Right.
See, that is where it takes you.
Everybody's held to the same standard, whether you're the first round pick who is an all-pro defensive player of the year type guy, to James Lynch, who's the undrafted, or no, he wasn't undrafted, but James Lynch, who was the free agent that only makes $1 million to $2 million. Like, I'm holding everybody on that defensive line, holding everybody on this team to the same
because
level.
Eventually, you never know when they will have to contribute, and you want to feel confident when they do get in that everything is going to be okay.
Well, you're also setting a standard, right, and an expectation, and that means that if you don't meet that expectations, you're gone.
Yeah, well, then you start also, and I don't know if to say a buddy system, but where you're sitting down and the guy next to you will say, "Hey, man, you're supposed to be here." They start coaching you too,
right?
And then you feel that kind of pressure, like
accountability, right?
Right. I got to get there. I got to find a way to get in that gap. Yeah, or I got to find a way if I'm the guard to get to the second level to get the linebacker.
Right.
Like, we've done it numerous times. I got to get it. I got to get it done. So that there is why I think they're going to be pretty successful. And that's not to say they're going to win, 10, games.
Right.
It's a process. So that's why I always talk about systems, because if you get the right players for the right systems with the right mindset, with the athleticism, that will then get on warp speed with teaching.
Right.
Now, sometimes that doesn't always go seamless right there.
Right.
I mean, it's just no way around it. We're talking about human beings. So, how quickly can he get those guys up to speed? And every individual coach, and starting with the quarterback always, will be, a tough task. And how quickly do they perform? Then, hence, when you're under pressure in game. Mm-hmm. It's different in practice. And then the pressure, to do exactly that in game. That's the hardest part, and that's on the player. But then it's up to you as the coach to say, why isn't he doing that?
Right.
So, well, I coach him. I don't want to hear about you coached him. You didn't coach him good enough.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how it really operates in those meetings. Like, dang, I don't know if I want to get into coaching.
We think we've come to the conclusion that it was Vrabel. The chat says it was Vrabel winning the Super Bowl. That if Vrabel won the Super Bowl, he'd shave his mustache. Now they tried to get me to say I'd shave my head, but I said no.
That's what it was, because the guy was like, I may be wrong, but it was the mustache.
It was the mustache for us. So you got the mustaches saved because Vrabel did not win the Super Bowl. So there you go.
Oh, 1 minute. Wait, do you remember that? Wait a minute. Bananas can't come into our show and then not answer this question. Did you hear it? You would shave your mustache if Vrabel won the Super Bowl.
Well, thank you, Seahawks defense.
Do you think that was right, though? No.
It sounds right to me, but we'll see.
I think it's close enough.
All right, coming up next, we'll hear more from the Titans head coach as he spoke to the media at the Combine. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. I think it was something to have to do with Vrabel.
Well, we're all been sitting on our, butts, I'm going to say that, and not getting our New Year's resolution done, and that means getting to the gym and try to get some of these LBs off. Well, the approach to weight loss at Edge Peptide Hormone Therapy is a little bit different. We make sure all patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversations in office with our nurse practitioner to create a customized treatment plan tailored to your specific needs. They use only U.S.-based FDA-audited compounding pharmacies because knowing where your peptides come from always, and I mean always, matters. Edge walks you through the process, guiding your treatment, answering your questions, and supporting you along the way. You also get to enjoy access to their in-body scanner to track weight loss and make sure you're maintaining that muscle mass that you have gained, as well as Edge. Also, make sure you have the lowest effective doses to make sure that you are resetting your metabolic flexibility and not starving yourself like most people think you need to do, and you don't need to do that. You need to lower your A1C, and that's what we help you do in keeping those cravings in check, prioritizing protein, and having someone guide your journey from start to finish. So call the team at Edge Peptide for all your wellness questions at 615, of course, 724-1878. That's 724-1878, or you can go to edgepeptide.com.
Good afternoon from the Circus Sports of the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. Interviews have already begun at the NFL Combine, and we have some notable news today. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni said that he, quote, cannot guarantee that A.J. Brown will be back in Philly next season. New Falcons GM Ian Cunningham confirmed that the team plans to release Kirk Cousins at the start of the new league year. Raiders general manager John Spytek voiced his confidence in edge rusher Max Crosby to stay in Las Vegas for the future. Ravens GM Eric DeCosta told reporters that he is confident that the team will get a contract extension done with Lamar Jackson. And lastly, Jets general manager Darren Muji said the team plans to place the transition tag on running back Breece Hall if they can't agree to a long-term deal by March 3rd. Tennessee heads on the road tonight to Columbia as they will take on the Missouri Tigers. Tip-off is scheduled for 8 p.m. Central in that one. You can catch Vault Network's broadcast of the game right here on The Zone starting at 7:30. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans of Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And listen, I want to go into a couple of things that Robert Saleh said. He specifically mentioned two players that were already on the roster. I want to start with one because it's the one that we probably love the most out of the two that we're about to talk about. But it's also the one
Number
that
one?
everything that we have said on this show for like 2 weeks now, and we've said it many times before, but everything we've said for like 2 weeks now on his fit with Robert Saleh's defense. Here's what Robert Saleh had to say when he was asked about his fit, T'Vondre Sweat's fit in this defense, and here's what Robert Saleh had to say.
I'll address Sweat first. We had a guy in 2000, I want to say 20, I think it was 23, maybe 22, L. Woods, who was just as big, just as fast, just as fleet of foot. Obviously it's going to be we're going to ask things of him that are different than what he's done in the past. But one thing he has shown on tape is he can get numbers to numbers, which we need our D-line to be able to do. They need to be able to run, and that is something that he can do. He's a big man. He's got much faster feet than people realize. Is it going to be easy for him? It's not. It is a lot of work. It is physically demanding to play D-line in our system. But I do think he's up to the task. Have had great conversations with him, and I'm excited to see him get to work.
I mean, it's almost everything that we've been saying word for word. Maybe he's listening to the show, and we can't discount that he may be listening to us to talk about T'Vondre Sweat.
Or somebody is for him.
Yeah, baby. But I'm just saying, he talked about Al Woods, about a bigger body guy, but he even had a bigger body guy in Alfred Collins last year who was actually heavier than Al Woods. And I heard Rand Carthon talk about Red Bryant, who played the elephant end, the big old defensive end.
Come on, Red Bryant?
Yeah. Yeah, in Seattle.
Oh, okay. I think you're talking about Red Bryant.
No, not Red Bryant. But that's everything that we have said about him. The numbers to numbers, sideline to sideline, fleet of foot. Nobody moves like him. And listen, he did say it wasn't going to be easy, but he thinks he's up to the task. It's physically demanding. And what is T'Vondre Sweat allegedly supposed to be doing this season? Training with Jeffrey Simmons.
Uh-oh.
So I'm just throwing it out there. I think this is a good victory lap for the show.
Oh, yeah.
And then you know what this means? We're going to victory lap, and then he's going to get traded tomorrow at the combine.
Oh, no. Don't say that. Oh, man. Hey, man. It'll be interesting. Now, when he says all those things, I feel like there's always a but in this conversation because he said it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But as long as he makes sure he gets numbers to numbers, We used to say sideline, because the big men are always going to come up a little short. So you go and say, hey, man, give me sideline to sideline. They ain't going to run past the numbers. So, it'll be a tough task. But if he's in shape, he works out with Big Jeff, all seriousness aside, I think he'll be right where he needs to be. And, by the way, there's a lot of motivation. I think about a player like him that, is under the microscope about his weight. Let's start there to, is he in shape? Everybody's always talking about that. And I don't think he's a lazy guy. I think he's a guy that's trying to prove people that they're wrong and that he is right in who he is. So we'll see if he gets a chance to actually do that. And then he gets the right to store it. And ultimately, it's on him. Nobody has to do anything. Also, hey, man, it's 2 years down, man. You was a second-round pick. So you got 2 years to go before you're a free agent, right? Is that right?
That is correct. This
year should be the setup year to the blow-up year, and then you let him walk.
Yeah, if you want. And I'll say this, Mike Bergonzi talked about it, but he's like, third year is kind of when you figure out what your players are anyway. And like you just said, and technically after his third year, he's extension eligible.
Oh, yeah.
So he could go ahead and get an extension. So this is almost not only just third year of a rookie contract, third year for a rookie player, or was a rookie player, where you're supposed to see that turnaround. Now, kind of consider it to be a contract year like you were just alluding to, right? You got to be looking at that. And I'll say this. I've heard him talk on various podcasts.
Really?
And Tavondre Sweat. Money is very much on his mind, as much as accolades and stuff. Now, this is when he got drafted.
Okay.
So this is after his rookie year. But I know that
he said he's going to be a Hall of Fame player, didn't he?
Yeah, that is true, too. He said, if I get down to 345 pounds, I'll be a Hall of Fame player. Well, let's get to 345, bud. I mean, it's kind of, yeah.
Oh, my.
But I do know this. He's very much fiscally minded. So I wouldn't put it past him that we're going to see an even better version of Tavondre Sweat, who I did think was better than he was his rookie year last year. And again, he does the dirty work. He has a thankless job on that defensive line in that system he was asked to do. And listen, Robert Saleh said he's going to be asked to do some things differently. And what we ask of our defensive line is physically demanding. So hopefully he gets in shape and takes it all seriously.
Well, they'll tell the tape, and I'm not going to say this is going to be every game, so pump the brakes, everybody. But if he is intentionally taken out in passing situations, game in and game out through an entire game, then he didn't meet the expectations of the coach.
Yep.
That's not to say he's still not a good player, but they were saying, hey, man, we want to keep you on the field. And unless they have some guys that are just so much head above, him as a pass rusher, which is, you could say, is probably his weakest link, sacking a quarterback and getting back there to the quarterback besides just pressures. So let's say if you draft a big-time pass rusher, then all of a sudden they say, well, and we know these are pass situations. We're going to put Femi on the inside and we're going to bring in somebody else on the outside.
Yeah. If you're getting out,
no different than how Jeff was doing that this year.
Well, I was about to say, like, red zone, right? If you're at the goal line or if you're 3rd and 1 and he's not in on 3rd and 1, that would be a very telling sign, like you just said, like Tavondre said, because that's a guy that you want.
He better be having the water bottle in his hand or something like, hey, man, I'm going to take a break or something.
Yeah.
Because those guys get winded. I got to tell a story real quick, man. Like, it really put in perspective for me as a player.
Yeah.
Like, this was eye-opening. One of the D linemen, and I'm going to name the name afterward, is running on the field and he's coming on, and I'm in front of the huddle because somebody's, injured who's, or nicked up while he's calling the plays. So I'm calling the plays. And so he gets in there and he's hovering right in front of my face, big old 6'5" guy. And I go, hey, man, what are you doing? You just ran out of you. We haven't even started to play yet. He said, hey, man. It's far as heck from here to the sideline. Joe Salavea. He actually said this in the huddle. I said, oh, my. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Like, that is a long run. He got tired running from the sidelines into the game.
That's crazy.
It was breathing like that. Now, he was a rotational guy, but he did play a
still.
lot. I was like, oh, my God. Now, this is something I'll never forget. Because I was serious. Like, hey, man, what are you doing? Because I thought something was wrong with him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, shit, man. Hey. It's a long way to that freaking sideline. I wanted to really say, hey, man, if that was some chicken wings, you would have been out here.
Maybe that's what they need out there for Sweat.
Oh,
like a cheeseburger
I
or
was
something.
like, wow, that's a different world that they live in, man. They're in a different world.
That's a lot of weight you got to carry at that kind of frame, too.
This guy probably, he's probably
And listen, the air's a little bit thinner.
310.
There's
He wasn't a 350.
No. You mentioned Femi Oladejo earlier, and Robert Saleh had some interesting things to say about Femi Oladejo, and kind of, again, coincides with what our show has been saying about where his fit likely is for this team. Now, we did question it just a little bit, but I think we both landed. His fit was probably this, and this is what Robert Saleh had to say on Femi Oladejo.
It wasn't that he was just being evaluated by 3-4 teams. We evaluated him as a 4-3 defensive end whose hand was in the ground. And, for him, he's got all the talent in the world. He's got length, he's got speed, he's got pass rush ability, he plays with violence. He's a good football player. And, for him, it's just going to be transferring to getting your hand in the ground and going vertical every snap rather than having to think about coverages and all that. So, obviously, there's going to be a learning curve for him even in that role, and there's going to be a lot of coaching and a lot of work on his part to get himself better every single day. And I think he's got the mindset and the physical ability to do that. And
there was that phrase again. I mean, thinking, right? Like, he needs to get used to going vertical every play, not thinking about coverages. Now, I'm sure there's going to be instances where he does drop back in coverages and stuff like that, but that's an adjustment for Femi Oladejo. And this whole thing has been an adjustment anyway. We knew when he was initially drafted for a different style of defense that there was going to be an adjustment period. He was a project. And now you can see that you heard him say, we also evaluated him when we were going through our draft stuff last year, and we evaluated him as a 4-3 hand-in-the-dirt defensive end, similar to what we've been saying.
Right. And what do Saleh's defense run?
4-3. Yeah. So, I mean, that's where he's going to be, because there's a lot of people who thought he was going to play Sam, and we were just like, I don't think so, bud. So...
He better learn how to pass rush and move his hands quick and counter moves. That's right. Man, and I saw him try. He is right that they did drop him on a few occasions there that was noticeable in games. I'm like, dang, but we're stunting his growth. I guess they were trying to disguise that he wasn't coming.
I guess so. I don't know. Just send him is kind of how I felt about Femi Oladejo. Just send him out there.
I can't wait to see where he's at. And he's one of probably the key guys, because if they get to, using Saleh's words, unlock him, man, they can unlock anybody.
That's the thing, right?
They
when you go back to teaching.
Yes, they can unlock anybody. If they figure, and he's got to do it on his own too. And it's not just about the coaches. It's about what they see in his progress. It's not going to happen overnight, and he's got to believe in it. But when it becomes second nature, and when he says they're not thinking without thought, that's what he said, playing without thought, then that's when you've arrived as a player. Yeah, and in the third year, you said something earlier, the third year is the year. Yeah. The third year in the league, that's when I thought I've seen everything. I know what I can and can't do in this league, and now I'm about to blow up, because your confidence level kind of goes up. It's no different than any other job. If you're a broadcaster, in your first year you're nervous and you kind of get the kinks out, but towards the end, and then as time goes on, your second year you're like, I did a better job. And the third you're like, I got it all squared away now. I'm ready to rock and roll. That's kind of like how a player develops too. At the same time, it just happened right now. Some guys, like I remember I was on like year 8 or 9. No, I was at 8. I'm in the Pro Bowl. Charles Woodson's in his rookie year is at the Pro Bowl. It's like, this guy's going to be really good. Boy, I'm like, God. We're sitting on the bus going over there just chit-chatting and everything. I'm like, dang, man, this dude is here already. He was doing, you see guys on tape. Like, you see him. You go, hey, man, how many years you got held back? Oh, no, I'm young. I'm only 20.
Right.
You just try to come up with something just to be funny, but it's like some of these guys are just so gifted and talented, just athletic. God's gift. It's just like unworldly. And he had all those other things to him. Then you knew it was going to happen, and it showed.
And Femi looks like an action figure. He looks like the perfect defensive end. The perfect pass rusher.
And I know, I'm going to speak for myself. I thought it was a little bit of a reach in that round. And took him in the second round, a high second round, I guess. And I get why they did it, but boy, man, if that don't work out, that's when you go, that was pressing on a need.
Right.
If it doesn't work out.
But if it doesn't work out with Robert Saleh, it may never work out regardless of what you would have done. Yeah. But this seems to me like the perfect example of what we've been talking about for the last, 30, 45 minutes is that teaching, important, not overcomplicating things for the players, important. And this seems like the perfect player to maybe get the production you need to at least be a B-plus player. If you get a B-plus player out of a second-round pick that you picked in the 50s, that's pretty good. Like, you can't go wrong there. Would you love for all your second-round players to be A-plus players? Of course.
But the second round, Henry was? Why can't all of them be like Derrick Henry, Hall of Fame player?
I wish.
Well, maybe he should have went in the first round.
Maybe he should have. So to me, I'm like, if he can't get it done with Robert Saleh, then he just can't get it done, because this seems like the perfect storm for Femi Oladejo's development for year 2 and beyond. So fingers crossed on that.
We all know he's a hard worker, though, boy. Yeah. He puts in work, and he got to get some mantra, some swag to him. He got to come up with a sack dance or something. That's what Ross was telling me. So I don't want to see him get a sack dance or something. He got to do something, get the crowd behind him.
Yep. Coming up next, Coach Mack live from the Combine. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here at 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. You heard the music. It's time for our weekly Mack Attack with Coach Mack, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. And Coach Mack's up there at the Combine. And Coach, now, last week you did tell us what you were doing with the NFL this week. That's something different that you haven't done. What is that again? And let the listeners know what all that entails.
Yeah, well, I'm not up there. I got that stomach flu, that norovirus.
What? Oh, Coach,
So
man,
you're
appreciate you
playing
coming on,
sick
man.
today.
You're being a trooper, man. I knew you were as tough as nails.
Yeah, well, I mean, this stuff is bad.
Oh, man, I would have had to take a sick day.
Well, since I know you're not at the Combine, but you've been to many Combines. You're a coach. Take us through the coach's perspective throughout the week of everything that you guys are trying to find out, everything you're going through schedule-wise this week.
Yeah, well, this is the first one I've missed since '87. I've been to every one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, but I just there's no way I was going to help anybody. Plus, I mean, this stuff is very infectious, so I didn't want a chance getting up there all of a sudden being really sick. So I made the right move.
Oh, for sure. What's the schedule like for coaches throughout the week?
Well, it's really hectic. It's very, very busy. I mean, that was, what I was going to do. I was on an 8-man panel that was going to interview about 80 prospective GM and head coach candidates during the course of Monday through Thursday. So I hated to miss that. This is the third year I've been on that panel, but for coaches, I mean, it's 24/7 up there.
Gotcha.
Oh.
What are the kind of, for edge rushers, what are the kind of things that you're looking for from the drills, whether it's the athletic testing or the position drills that you're looking for from defensive ends and edge rushers?
Well, it just depends on how they can corner. They do that drill where they run the hoops. I mean, it's how they can corner, how quick they can get off the line, how flexible they are at the turn point at the top. There's a whole lot of checklists that you go through. As I say, I'll be watching and taking notes on every drill. That's the one good thing that they do a good job of broadcasting the whole thing, so I won't miss much.
We're on the phone with Coach Mack for his weekly Mack Attack, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Well, Coach, kind of take us through, the maturation process of the GM when you have a new coach with a new GM in theory, and how they have to be aligned together, especially when you start this drafting free agent process. And what is that like?
Well, that's why they've been locked up, for at least a month. Getting on the same page, talking the same language, all those types of things. I mean, those are long days too. I mean, really long right now for them.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well,
Coach, that's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So the head coach now, I think, is becoming a thing, reporting to the ownership group and not the GM. Is this kind of something new, or is kind of just transformed that it's just getting a lot of, talk about it now that a lot of coaches kind of requested that?
No, it's pretty common right now.
Did that change from previous years when you were head coach?
No, I mean that's there's a chain of command. There always is, and you just everybody's a little bit different, but basically it's still the same.
Okay, and then lastly, I really want to know, trending are all these young coaches in their 30s getting head coaching jobs, which is awesome. but they're hiring assistant veteran coaches. I think I saw Don Capers or somebody I hadn't been in the league as an assistant head coach. I forget the name, just like Leslie Frazier is with the Vikings.
Those are important roles.
Uh-huh.
I was an assistant head coach, for Jeff Fisher for a dozen years. I mean, that's become a very, very, important role because the duties for head coaches have become so varied that you need somebody as a go-between. And so the one thing that you guys know this, the one thing that you can't manufacture is the experience, and that's why you find a lot of these guys on staffs. Everybody at least has one of them.
Yeah, I know. I see that's a trend, I guess. And lastly, this may be out of your privy, but there's been some fatal deaths in the National Football League with some young players. And I saw A.J. Brown, which really made me think about this when he spoke on this, and I guess he had some issues too with just having mental health issues with being in the league and the pressure and all involved with the media and everything else. Talk a little bit about those resources that are available with every team and how that process kind of works.
Well, there's resources team-wise and there's resources league-wise.
Right.
I mean, it's a real thing, and players need to take advantage of all of those things because clearly, especially when you've got young players under the pressure that they're under. I mean, the mental health is a huge thing, and it's not a sign of weakness; it's a sign of strength if you go get help.
Fully agree, Coach Mack. And Coach Mack, we're going to let you get some rest. We hope you get to feeling better soon. The chat is all telling us that, hey, we hope you get to feeling better. So we're going to let you rest, get some Gatorade in you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, man. You tough as nails, man.
Yeah.
I would have called out.
Oh, well. Tell all the listeners, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
No problem.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. That was Coach Mack for his weekly Mack Attack, brought to you by Tours Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. We'll switch gears and we'll talk a little bit about what Robert Saleh had to say. He talked about arm length. And what was interesting, because I do want to go back to the media scrum just a little bit here. There was the media scrum before the presser.
Right.
And this is because Ruben Bain is a guy that arm length is a big topic of conversation.
Yeah, his arms are the same length as yours.
I think I may have longer arms. I may have longer arms. We need to get that remeasured.
For your height, right?
Yeah, for my height. Mm-hmm. But I may have longer arms. But he said, this is what Robert Saleh had to say about Ruben Bain.
Arm length is always going to be key, especially
with a young man like Bain. I don't know if his testing has come in yet, but his tape is undeniable.
Oh,
he's an unbelievable football player. He plays with great violence. His football IQ is off the charts. So there's that word again, football IQ. So you trust that a guy like him and his makeup is going to translate the way it needs to, courtesy of Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports. So he said that because, obviously, testing hasn't came in yet, but the tape is undeniable. But we all know that he tends to have shorter arms. Now, Robert Saleh was specifically asked about arm length for cornerbacks, but he did parlay that into defenders. Here's what Robert Saleh had to say on arm length for defenders.
arm length is always going to be key, especially with a team like us that plays more of a zone style. Those long arms close up passing windows and do all the different things that we ask them to do. But so it's really every position. Arm length is always a big deal.
So for every position, arm length is always a big deal.
Oh,
now,
man, I wouldn't have been in the draft board then.
but there's always outliers. You had probably been an outlier.
Arms are long.
We need to measure our arms to see.
I think yours look pretty long over there.
I think that's
for your 5'7" height.
I think that's probably it. I separated the growth plate. I'm going to say I should have been taller.
Oh, man. Is that what happened to me, too, I think?
Maybe.
Dang it.
But it does bring up an interesting discussion with Ruben Bain. Mm-hmm. And listen, we have a clip here, and we'll play it in just a minute, but it was Robert Saleh on fit and non-negotiables and all that stuff. You always have non-negotiables. But those are, for them, very few, and for the coaches, I should say, when I say them, for the coaches, the non-negotiables are very few and far between.
Not the scouts or GMs.
Don't know about the scouts and the GMs, but he's at least speaking for himself and his staff. Yeah. But I do wonder, what does the arm length conversation really matter when the tape is undeniable?
Roger McCray.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. You go second round.
Yeah.
Or you get moved from end to tackle.
And there's how many times has he gone up for a ball that he just quite couldn't deflect because of a short arm?
Oh, man. Maybe one.
I think there is a little bit more than that. But I do agree, the tape is great. I mean, the tape is very, very, I'll say this. The tape is very good. Now, is it elite, blue chip? No. There's a lot of times where he's getting pressure, but the play is able to be completed for a big gain, even though he got pressure, because he is not a closer. How much of that is...
He's not a closer.
He's not a closer.
And that leads me to what I was going to say about him. He needs to lose about 20 pounds.
There you go.
I don't know if you'll see him be the same player, because I saw him numerous times in games, in playoff games, where he looked like he slowed down, and I felt like he should have that extra gear to close on some of these quarterbacks, and he didn't have it. And, that's where, as far as run game and, him understanding the game, that was all there. You saw it, he's a gamer and all those things. I want to see some speed, some get up and go. Now, when I put on Bailey, I see that.
Exactly.
I see that now. He maybe not play the run.
That's good.
So they're on the opposite ends of that. You know, you say, can I deal with that? But I like this. I mean, I see him doing spin moves. I mean, chop. I'm like, dang, this guy's got a multitude of. And then you see Bane just like bull people, bang. I'm like,
And Arvell Reese is kind of like both of them a little bit
in the middle. So then I get conflicted when I'm watching them. I'm like, dang, man. So it's about the flavor that you want that fits your system. To me, that trump everything. What's the best fit for what we do?
Yeah.
And he said they like long arms.
He said
every position.
At every position, at least on defense, because he was specifically talking about defense. He talked about it.
But it's exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, there's always exceptions to the rule. I mean, Upton Stout, right? I mean, he only had 30-inch arms last year. Diamador Lenore's not a big guy. Now, does that mean that he wouldn't prefer to have longer guys at those positions? Well, sure. Akello Weatherspoon is a guy that really comes to mind, a guy they drafted in 2017 over at the 49ers who has monster arms. And I mean,
does it matter with every round? Does that change?
Maybe you're a little bit more lenient.
Because you get in the third and fourth, and you're not getting the perfect player.
Yeah.
In the fifth. I mean,
maybe
but they still get really good football players.
You still get really good football players. And maybe, I don't know, I would almost argue that maybe those become more important because you may not be getting a more athletically or gifted, talented player, and that he has the measurables that you're looking for.
So a la Baker.
Like Baker Jr. Maybe he feels that he can get something out of Baker Jr. that maybe other people couldn't.
He's coached him before, as you said, right?
Gus Bradley did. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but he's length, but when you put him up on, you're like, what's he running the 40? 4.5?
Yeah.
But his length makes it seem as though he runs 4.4.
Right. Let's go to Robert Saleh on Robert Saleh on fit and non-negotiables and his viewpoint on that.
I don't know if fit's the right word. We there's a lot of guys in our system have taken the mold of different shapes, sizes. For us, we just look for guys who can play the game of football and play it at a very, very high level. And there are things that are non-negotiables, but those are very rare and few in between.
Rare and few in between, the non-negotiables. We still don't know what those non-negotiables are. Maybe it is arm length, because he did mention arm length is pretty important. So maybe it is that. But I do think that he's one of those guys that's kind of shown. I brought up two names that we brought up now numerous times, Diamador Lenore and Upton Stout, cornerbacks for the San Francisco 49ers that had to play a lot and played very well, and they don't really meet the standard measurables for an NFL player.
And what round did Stout go?
I believe he was third.
Right, because you're not going to get that kind of player.
Yeah.
Now, can he exceed not having his lengthy arms with his quick, feet?
Maybe.
And they are quick.
Yeah.
And he can move with the best of them. And so then you say, well, I think he can parlay that into being a good, solid player. Because everybody, especially when you get out of the first 2 rounds, you're not probably going to get that player. Now, I do like your analysis of, well, maybe you take a guy that has the measurable, but he's not quite as fast as use DB cornerback as one of those. I would lean into maybe let's see who's the better football player.
Yeah. And that's, I think, what they would do, or at least the coaching
and
staff.
stuff. And so then it becomes a coin toss.
Yeah.
And you want to have your coach to have at least a little bit of say so, and then maybe you take it the next time in another situation about position or player. So it's going to be fun to see how they make these decisions, because for him to say all positions,
yep, that was interesting.
How do we take that?
Yeah, and because that comes after what he said about Ruben Bain.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he did say the measurements haven't came in yet. So it makes me wonder, well, let's just wait and see what his measurements actually
I wonder if it's
are.
a thing that could get your arms longer.
Maybe.
I know people were doing stuff with their hands, right?
Right.
For these quarterbacks,
Yeah.
they were doing
Well, they
something.
just need to hang from a bar or something with like
To get their
cinder
arms?
blocks around on your legs, stretch out your.
stretch out your.
You stretch
I don't
out
know.
your-
I thought it's stretching out your spine.
Maybe it does. Maybe it does stretch out your torso. I don't know.
But
I don't know.
man.
But arm length matters. Ask Will Campbell. It matters. All right, coming up next, we'll go to your phones. We got Larissa on the line, 615-737-1045. It's the last call for phone calls for Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 1045 The Zone. I'll think.
It was once said, do all the good you can, by all means you can, in all ways you can, and in all places you can, at all times that you can, to all the people, as long as you ever can. And that's what owner and founder Aaron Stokes did for over a quarter century. Hey, folks, it's Blaine Bishop for Eurofix. And Eurofix repairs European vehicles at below dealer pricing. But what sets Eurofix apart isn't just price. It's the deep commitment to quality that keeps you off the tow truck. And Eurofix has clean, welcoming shops where you can actually sit down and work on your computer if you need to. But you also get a free 15-minute no-rinse inspection to share with you what's going on at all times on your vehicle. And at Eurofix, you also get a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all the work that is performed. And rental cars are available with those appointments at 5 locations and more to come. We're talking about Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can check them out online at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com.
Cover 2. Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to the phones. Go to Larissa.
Yeah.
Larissa, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing. I love all the shows. I have to say, again, you guys make our hearts smile. But I am trying to figure out, what is this with the arms thing? I mean, are people wanting like an ET? I'm not being ugly, because this is the thing. This is also going to sound crazy, because I know anybody that has seen ET, it was about the heart and so on.
Oh, no.
Like, what about the heart of the athlete? Everybody's talking about arms. What do you want them to have little arms?
Yeah.
You want them to be octopuses?
Yeah.
What is this? It just sounds strange to me. You know, I don't know, but what? And I'm going to shut up and listen. But, okay, somebody go find E.T., put some height on E.T.
Yeah.
with the long arms, and put him on the field. This is crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I always
Thanks,
say
Larissa.
I wouldn't have got drafted in this NFL. Everything's about measurables. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I might not get drafted.
Well, I think every position is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
running back's probably not as
they
important.
go in rounds, I think it does change.
Yeah.
Because there's no way. You just talked about your guy Stout.
Right.
I mean, there's players, but I think for those first 2 rounds, they are trying to hit on that. That way they won't miss. And length does give you a little bit of an edge,
right?
Whether any position. And you talked about Will Campbell there, the length of his arm. Some guys can play well without it. Who was the guy, the offensive tackle from Northwestern? Is Slater?
Rashawn Slater.
Slater, yeah.
Yep.
That he has short arms just like Will.
Terrell Suggs is a defensive end that would be a comparable thing
So
to
sometimes
Reuben
there
Bain.
are exceptions to the rule, but they're trying to follow this playbook that they have, and it's not always right, but they have to have a guide.
What's mitigating risks,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, like,
Well
for
said,
the way he said it for specifically cornerbacks was arm length helps close up passing windows.
Yeah, and this is all true, by the way. And it took me a minute to kind of embrace that, because you would see players that were better than the actual person that had the long arms. You said, this guy is better, though. They say, yeah, but in the league, those little inches that he's just that half a step slow, it's going to be mitigated with his long arms.
Well, game of inches, game of seconds. So when you have slow arms, slow arms. Right.
Short arms.
Short arms. You got to be faster than what Reuben Bain is, right? Like
that's why I said,
if you had David Bailey's closing speed and Reuben Bain's body, Reuben Bain would be unstoppable, right? Because he has the strength, he has the leverage, and that's the thing. Is like, it's not to say that Reuben Bain isn't going to be a good player, but what if that is the tiebreaker? What if you're looking at 2 guys that are essentially the same, and that's tiebreaker? It's why Skoronski was widely viewed as a guard, because not only did he have short arms that are typically below the threshold for a tackle, he didn't have the power and the punch to go with the short arms.
He was a technician.
Yeah. And so it's almost like, sure, Bain has short arms, but Bain has short arms and disappeared at times during games and then couldn't finish. Well, he was there.
Right.
Playing.
No. I'm not going to talk about the finishing. I'm
like
a clear fan with the short arms.
Yeah.
Short arms for NFL standards.
Yeah, for NFL standards, right.
He does not have short arms.
Yeah.
He's not a pterodactyl or nothing.
Yeah.
But
ain't that guy on Scary Movie 2 take his good hand.
So it's just crazy when they talk about, his hands are small, his arms are short. I mean, for the NFL standards, especially when you're talking about the first and second round, they're trying to meet the certain standard that's had success in this league over a big body of years. So that's how they come up with these models.
Right.
And it's pretty much spot on.
Like hand size for quarterbacks. Yeah. With the NFL football, they drop, fumble, all that kind of stuff. You don't have as strong as grip as other guys. That does not mean that you're like, if you're Brock Osweiler and you have 10-inch or 11-inch hands, right, and you got Baker Mayfield who has 9 and a half-inch hands, which I don't know if
baby
he has.
hands. No.
Huge difference, right? But one is clearly a better quarterback.
What was Cam's hands? Because I don't feel like his hands look big.
9
They look normal size for
9
just
and
an
1/8.
average, guy.
Yeah.
A quarterback.
So it's one of those things like arm length, hand size, wingspan, weight. It's just one of those things in the NFL that's just kind of proven over time that it's less risky to go with those players. It's like when you're looking at an edge class or defensive end, I guess is how we'll call it now. When you're looking at those pass rushers, your pass rushers are typically more often than not productive. Not only do they have they meet the stat threshold or production threshold in college, they also meet the athletic threshold. Like you're mitigating a risk. Like Femi, super athletic, but didn't have the production in college that you're looking for a defensive
So you're
end.
projecting it.
But you're projecting that you can get more out of it. Yeah. So it's just like, it's all about everything in the NFL is about mitigating risks. And the more risks you take on risky players, whether it's in free agency or the draft, the more likely those risks are going to pile up and blow up in your face. And that's why maybe a lot of GMs don't get a second chance to kind of wrap it up from the top of the show.
Do you think they care about D tackles length?
I think some do.
Yeah.
I think some do. I think that if you look at, like, Tavondre Sweat's a huge guy. Like, that guy eats up space. And to me, I want that kind of guy 9 times out of 10, unless because he just eats up space. I mean, he's long,
Baines numbers.
tall.
I want to see Baines numbers to Sweat.
Those come Thursday.
Oh, do they? Okay.
So the Thursday is when I believe the defensive line and the linebacker group, they get measured and everything. It's either tomorrow or Thursday, but I think that's when it starts, is Thursday. So there you go. All right, that will do it for us tomorrow. Big old Combine preview show, and we'll talk about some of the rumors already starting to pop up. And then we'll also hear from Titans GM Mike Bergonzi tomorrow at noon as well. And I believe he's going to be on the Buck Rising's show. Him or Robert Saleh's on the Buck Rising show tomorrow.
Both of them.
Maybe both of them, I think. So there you go. That will do it for us. 3HL's up next has been covered too. We're playing Bishop and Zach Lions here on 105 The Zone. And in the meantime,
and in between time,
peace.